All right. Good morning, friends. It's good to have you back on with me this morning here on the Jay Talk Morning Show. I'm your host, Jay Goff, and we get up bright and early every single day right here at 7 a.m. Central Time with your weekday programming of the Jay Talk Morning Show. So it's great to have you on board with me this morning, my friends. And first things first, every single morning, everybody raise your cup. If you got a little Java in the morning, whatever your morning beverage is to get you started, water, juices, whatever you take. But I'm a Java guy in the morning, man. Give me my Java first thing in the morning. Always makes my day better and brighter when I can kick it off with some Java. So good morning to you. Right off the bat, I just want to say our prayers are out for the all the victims and all the people in Kansas City and Washington that experienced some horrific shootings over the weekend. I understand we've had some lives lost as well as some lives impacted forever. So our hearts go out to them and our prayers. And if you would make sure to take time out today to reflect on that and hold your babies close, hold your loved ones close. At any time, anywhere, by anyone, something could happen, and we can't control what other people do. We cannot do that. So, but let's pray for them, and let's make sure that we keep ourselves safe and vigilant in our safety as well. So anyway, so let's get started. Yesterday I talked about some of the killers to creativity. The killers to your creativity. And so this is the part 2 of the Be More Creative in Developing Your Problem-Solving Skills. This was taken from an article I read from the Maxwell Leadership. And I thought, I'm going to share this and of course, give my own spin on it as well. But I want to share what they had to say in the creativity lane, because anything you do, you got to be creative. If you want to be better at anything, you got to be creative. If you want to improve on something, you have to stimulate your creativity. If you want to build stronger relationships, you want to build a greater business, you want to increase your finances. If you want a better life, if you want to go on vacation, okay, you got to be creative. You got to stimulate that creativity. And many of us, unfortunately, are stifled by the lack of belief and faith in others in our creative senses, and we want to move forward on that creativity. So we have to sometimes eliminate some of those creativity killers. A lot of times it's the things we're telling ourselves as well. So we talked about that yesterday. Today I want to talk about how thinking creatively by asking the right questions. Ask the right questions. John wrote a book called Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. Well, good coaches ask great questions. Good teachers ask great questions. You who want to grow and stimulate your creativity to become better at whatever it is you want to become better, or to venture into a new arena, something totally new that you've never done before, but you've always wanted to. You've got to be creative about that in the planning process. So are you asking yourself the right questions? Are you asking yourself the right questions? And are you asking the right people who can ask you the right questions? That's another thing. Who we surround ourselves with matters. Proximity matters. I want you to write that down. If not, no. Proximity matters. Who you are getting close to, who you get close to, what environment you're getting close to. You want to grow in a certain area, certain industry, you gotta saturate yourself with that, with the people, with the knowledge, with the experience, with the environment. You've got to do that if you want to get in the improve and increase wherever you're at. So creative questions. The uncreative mind can spot wrong answers, but it takes a creative mind to spot wrong questions. This was by a management trainer named Sir Anthony Jay. No relationship to this Jay. But he's so right. The wrong questions will shut down the process of creative thinking. The wrong question can shut it down quickly. Are you? Okay, every time I bump the desk, it looks like I'm having an earthquake here. Can you see that? This is not an earthquake, ladies and gentlemen, but I could maybe say, oh, I think it's an earthquake. I got to quit bumping my desk. The But if you're not asking yourself the right questions, you'll stop growing. You'll stop developing. You'll get hampered by the criticism of your own thoughts, the criticism of the words of other people as well. So, are you asking yourself the right questions? Um, in order to stimulate creative thinking, you got to ask yourself some questions such as, why must it be done this way? Ask the whys, not in a way that is contradictory, but in a way that is curious. Ask the question why, not to be contradictory, but or contrarian, but to be curious, to learn and know more and why. Why must it be done this way? What is the root problem of a situation? If you're trying to create creative answers to a problem, you're problem solving, and that's what we're talking about here. What is the root problem? We're looking at the symptoms. We're looking at the results and the symptoms, but what is the root cause? And I think that's what happens a lot in our lives, in our society, is we're not really going back and looking at root causes. We're trying to make a solution based on symptoms and not go down to the root causes. It's kind of like the flu shot, right? You get a flu shot so you can prevent getting the flu, but it's not the root cause of the flu that is the problem. It's what's causing the flu. What creates the flu? We got to get down to the root cause of what creates the flu. What? How can we protect ourselves from those things? Um, let's see. What are the underlying issues? Is another question to ask. Um, right question. What does this remind me of? What does this remind me of in problem solving? Looking back, you've solved problems in your life, and you're going to experience similar situations in the future. So you'll be well equipped if you've learned from the previous problem. When that problem shows up again, then you can solve it easier. Okay. Um, why is it important? Why is it important? Asking the question, why is this important? When we make changes in an organization or when we need to solve a certain problem, why is it important that we solve the problem? Why is it important that we grow? Why is it important that we come to find the answers to help us grow, to help us overcome a challenge? Why is that important? Get that off of there. What's the hardest or most expensive way to do it? What's the hardest or most expensive way to do it? Okay. This is another question we can ask ourselves in problem solving. I would also say the opposite side of that is, what is the easiest and least expensive way to do it? So, what is the hardest and most expensive? But then also ask, what is the easiest, the simplest, and most cost effective way of doing it? Here's a good one. This one is good. When seeking to solve problems, when looking for the right answers to solve a situation, you've got a challenge, you've got a deadline to meet, you've got a program to set up, you've got a task that must be accomplished and achieved. Another question you can ask is, who? Who has a different perspective on this? Leaders. This is why I believe that you should be leading from a round table, not a head table. Okay, that's another thing I've talked about in the past. You should lead from a round table, not a head table. And I've got a whole scenario set up for that. But you are the last person to show up in a room. No seats are assigned. When you have a round desk and no seats are assigned, nobody can automatically assume where the leader is going to sit. When you show up, you get to sit in whatever chair is available and open. And now that puts you among your people where we're all looking together and communicating. There is no immediate everybody looking in one direction at you, the leader, because you're at the head of the table. Nobody and everybody has an ability to actually look at each other around the table as they're communicating. You get to look at everybody as they're communicating and ask those questions. Great leaders depend on the perspectives of their people. You got to ask the questions. You got to get out there. We have a situation, we have a problem we need to overcome. We have a challenge ahead of us, folks. Okay. It's an opportunity for us to grow, to shine, to be bigger. But I need your thoughts on this. I need your thoughts. I need your ideas. Okay. So let's get together, all of us together. And this is what a mastermind is called too. You know, if you're familiar with masterminds, and we do masterminds on workshops and things like this on some of the books that we teach on. But a mastermind is a group of people coming together, sharing their perspectives or thoughts or ideas. It comes together when they're looking for a solution, and the best idea wins. Now, when I say the best idea, I mean the best idea that is in that moment, and you have a criteria that you're following to determine which action you want to take, which course of action you want to take based on the best idea that is presented on the table. And that takes everybody's voice, because the leader is going to see so much. An airplane pilot can see a broad view of the earth, but he cannot see the potholes. He can't see the valleys in great detail. He cannot see the people walking around on the earth. He cannot see what's on the ground. That's why I need people on the ground to be able to communicate to the pilot or the leader, hey, this is what's happening down here. You probably don't see that because you have a higher altitude view. We're going to show you what's happening on the ground level. That's why leaders need to ask questions of the people on your team on the ground level. Okay. And then finally, what happens if we don't do it at all? That is a question that sometimes we have to answer. What happens if we don't do this? What happens if we don't take action? What happens if we just let it go? Okay, you've got to look at that perspective as well. So this is part 2 of being more creative and developing your problem-solving skills. You should always be developing your skills in any area, especially problem-solving, because not only for your organization, but for your own personal life. We all got problems. What's the old saying? We's all got problems. Well, you're not going to stop having problems. You're always going to have problems. The cool thing is you can learn now how you're going to approach those problems when they do occur. That's developing your emotional intelligence. That's part of the development of your problem-solving skills. Learn how to solve problems before the problems show up. Okay. All right. So that's what we got for you today, my friends. I hope you got something from this. I hope I was able to inspire you and encourage you to challenge yourself, ask the right questions in the problem-solving process. And we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about developing those creative environments, seeking out those creative environments. We're going to talk about that one tomorrow as part of this series here. All right, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed this, got something out of it. Get out there. Don't forget to pray and keep those people in your hearts today of the Kansas City area, the fans of the Kansas City Chiefs, the people who lost their lives, people impacted both in Kansas City and, of course, in Washington right now. Just keep those in prayer. Until then, next time, let's look up here. We got Catherine. Good morning, my friend. Good morning. It's good to see you on. Okay, so until we meet again, my friends, until next time tomorrow morning, I'll see you back here on the J Talk Morning Show at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, get up, get out, and get at it.